Talking about deals being done, there's no deal done yet on the firefighters' dispute. What's your view of the man that you've got leading that on your behalf, Brian Coleman?
Well, there is a deal that is virtually there, and if you look at the suggestion of the panel chaired by Professor William Brown, the independent panel that the FBU went to recommend the deal proposed to its members, he's suggesting two changes that we think are very, very productive. And he's suggesting changes to the shift times that are pretty much in line with what we think would be a good compromise. And that's roughly where we are with the FBU and
Chairman of the
London Fire and Emergency Planning Authority.
But this is important. Do you fully support Brian Coleman, Mr. Mayor?
I think Brian Coleman is an excellent chairman of the London Fire and Emergency Planning Authority. You know, let's be clear about what's going on.
Have you seen an interview he's just given with the Ham and High?
Yeah, I've seen it.
And he says most of the union officials, if they had half a brain cell, they'd be dangerous. Most of them are thick, can't string a sentence together, and frankly are incoherent. Is that the sort of language that helps bring about a peace of mind?
No, let's be absolutely clear that this is not, and I've been in contact with Brown, and he's had a message from me that I don't think that this is the kind of thing that.
It's ticking off.
It's not right, I don't think, to get into personal slangy matches. But what I would just say in defence...
He's had a ticking off,
what I would just say in defence of Brian, just an explanation of where we are on this. Don't forget, Nick, that anybody who gets involved in... anybody who heads LFIPA, as Val Shawcross did before Brian, becomes the object of quite personal attacks. And... if you remember, Val Shawcross actually had to have protection when she was doing this job, because there are some. The overwhelming majority of firefighters are fantastic people. There is a tiny minority who are extremely militant and aggressive.
You talk about personal attacks. This is Brian Coleman, the man that you have every confidence in, although you have ticked him off, talking about my colleague James O'Brien.
Thank you, Jim. Well,
I would rather crawl naked through the streets of London than talk to that man. He's a Mr. Angry. Gets him an audience. Good luck to him. I think he fancies himself as some sort of a shock jock. So let's get this right. Brian Coleman has fallen out with all the firefighters. He's given an offensive interview to the Ham and High, and he's been offensive to my colleague, and you still have confidence in him.
Well, I don't want to get... in spite of the very tempting offer you make, Nick, I don't want to get dragged into a feud between Brian and another distinguished presenter on your radio station. But
you are giving interviews to James when he wants them.
Of course. The key thing I want to stress is that there is good progress being made between the FBU and LFIPA. The independent chair of the panel has come up with a good plan to vary
what happens
to
these 27 fire engines? Are they being axed?
Well, again, this has become a very, very
these are the ones that are currently with Asset Co. Topic. They're in a depot in Ruislip. Are they being axed?
There's no plan to axe the fire engines that are in the depot in Ruislip. Though clearly, what I think Brian is trying to do is to get the point across that
so those fire engines are not being axed.
In tough financial circumstances, it is right that you look at things that don't deliver frontline improvements.
And they're not being axed.
There is no plan to axe the fire engines.
Frontline staff are not being axed.
The name of the game is to improve the fire service. Of course, yes. in tough financial circumstances,
I hear you, Mr.
when the budgets are being squeezed, Brian Coleman, LFIPA, Ron Dobson are completely right to try to find ways of saving money on things that don't make London safer from fire.
Frontline staff and those fire engines will not be axed.
What I've said to them is there a plan to cut the 27 fire appliances? They've said there's no such plan. But what they are doing is looking at ways to save money to make sure that they can protect frontline services and keep London safe from fire. That is what the FBU want to achieve. That is what we want to achieve.
So why did he do the report about axing the fire engines then?
Well, I think we're looking into all options, but
we had nothing to worry about. The firefighters are safe and the fire engines are safe.
Well, it's a good point you make, actually, because if you look at London's record at the moment, if you look at the achievement of the London Fire Brigade, and we should pay tribute to them.
Of course.
They work incredibly hard. They are making our city steadily safer from fire. And they have a very good record. All I'm saying, and I think all the chairman of LFIPA, London Fire and Emergency Planning Authority, is saying is that when things are so tough, you've got to look at cost savings where you can.
As a full stop, let me just play a little bit of your colleague talking to one of them. 16 minutes after 9, breaking news. It has been confirmed that the next tube strike will go ahead from Sunday night. Hopes of a deal over job losses have collapsed. Let's get an immediate...